Alright. Welcome back, guys. Dr. Sunshine here with your daily dose of fail. I don't think I'm necessarily failing right now playing this game. I think I'm doing okay. But I guess we'll find out. Please ignore any whining in the background. The dogs see me sitting at the table and they want me to come outside and sit with them instead. And just no. So we finished the first month with the Kaplans here at this house, and they're struggling with their relationships. Their son seems to be struggling with his reading, and yes, I keep checking my phone because my dog is at the groom. The other dog, there's 3 here. The other dog is at the groomer, so I'm waiting for them to tell me when she's done so I can go pick her up. But Tommy's struggling with his reading. Linda's a painter, and Dan is a really bad writer with bad decision-making skills. So, show. Linda got a letter in the mail. That just keeps going in my brain. Why in the world? They're so incessant about using these things. Mrs. Kaplan, we're thrilled to be exhibiting your work Thursday. I know this all came together a little last minute, but our secretary is only part-time and she sometimes gets behind. I've sent along some forms and samples for the ad we plan to run in this week's paper. And that's where the last thing you want to worry about right now. What's the point of putting on a show if no one knows about it? Anyhow, I know this is a little bit hectic, but while we may be small, we have a lot of heart, and we're very excited about your show. Nicole Adams, Westlake Gallery. Ooh. Linda's on the up and up.
Big news, Barb. I'm putting on a show. Can you believe it? I've already got butterflies. It's been so long. I'm glad it's a small gallery so I can ease my way back into things a bit. And I want to do it right. I'd forgotten how much work goes into things that aren't painting when it's time to put on a gallery. You know I could never stand all the logistical rigmarole. Plus I have a piece I really want to finish before the show. So much to do. I want to take it seriously and go through the whole process, though, because if the show goes well, who knows? Hope to hear from you, and hope you can come, of course. Yours always, Linda.
So I was watching the German Shepherd's just sitting here watching the birds take his food. All the damn beats. Daddy and Tommy seem to be getting along better. I'm gonna get Linda to want to grab a bite. Don't bite it.
Has it been 5 years already? I still remember the thought that blindsided me when I saw Tommy for the first time. He's my new creative work. TJ gave me such a look when I told her I was going to cut back on my painting, but she doesn't have any kids, so there's no way she could understand. It's hard to top creating an entire person. Maybe she thought Dan told me I had to stay home. That would have been a very short conversation. Still, I can't ignore the fact that it's time to figure out what on hold means. What would it look like to go back full-time? Do I want to?
I just want to know how a novelist and the painter ended up together. It's 2 totally different spheres of an artistical world. You know, that requires 2 different types of focuses, you know?
The 7 o'clock idea was dead before it even got started. Dan was pretty adamant that he just can't make the time with his writing schedule, and if we pushed it any later, Tommy would have been wiped out. I guess we'll just keep playing it by ear each night, but that makes it so hard to count on any quality time. Maybe it's a small thing, but I'm worried it'll chip away at us.
Well, if you're working together every daggone morning for 2 hours with the kid, I think that's some pretty significant quality time. Where is it? Must be downstairs.
I don't know yet, honey.
What is it, Mommy?
So it looked like he had his hand on her eyes. I was like, Well, she can't see what it is with your current placement. Dan could take care of the promo forms on the coffee table. Yeah, that's not a reasonable request. Found some she-shells. She-shells. There's that picture of him playing frisbee. Excuse me. This note, good for one adventure. Signed, Debbie. It kind of makes me want to punch Dan. That's something like third graders do. In arts and entertainment news, the Westlake Gallery has announced a show by visiting artist Linda Kaplan. Resident of Lorton, Miss Kaplan is visiting the coast with her family and has completed a new series she describes as an expression of restrained emotion using society's imposition on nature as a lens. Details on the show will be forthcoming. Well, aren't you just philosophical and all that jazz, man? Oh god, his arms are contorted in the weirdest way.
Hey, what's wrong?
I guess he's trying to cover his face, but seriously looks like his shoulders are broken. There he is.
The new schedule isn't as bad as it could have been. At least I'm getting 2 blocks of quiet time every day, though of course they're not as long as I wish they could be. And the sound of those doors closing is my favorite thing to hear these days. It's almost Pavlovian how that doorknob clicking shut puts me into a writing space. I'm not crazy enough to think there's anything mystical going on, but there's something to be said for developing a habit. Just say it.
Official night of the photo court.
Paul. Hey man, if I'd known my letter would set you off like that, I wouldn't have written. My fault. Let's both just calm down. I see now that it was stupid to ask if you knew any art agents. That's like you asking me if I know any professional sculptors. Dumb question, point taken. But believe me, no one's more worried about the schedule than I am. I think about it every day. I can't get away from it. Most nights I start thinking about it and can't stop. My heart starts beating out of control and I have to get up and try to work just to calm down. I'm not slacking off, man. I shouldn't have made you think I was focused on anything else. I'll get everything sorted out.
Four things for him. Friday, rap draft. Saturday, fam day. Sunday, dialogue pass / fix Alice / revisions when. That's a good question. When is there ever time for revisions? Catch him.
Right down there.
Cool. Can we go?
There we go. That's a better painting. I like that one better. Well, let me figure out what. Let me figure out what Dan wants. Wait, look at that. Oh, I see 2 of his things. God, your typewriter's so loud, man. You got to work on that.
just never stops. Every time I plot something I think will hold together, it falls to pieces. This thing was supposed to be done months ago, but the further I get, the harder it is to make it all work. Nothing's ever as simple as it seems at first. I'll think about a problem for days, finally come up with a fix, and then realize it breaks something somewhere else. I can barely hold all the threads together. Sometimes this thing just feels too big for me and I want to burn it and walk away. But what else would I do? And the deadlines don't help either. I can't think harder or faster. This stuff comes when it comes, and getting stressed out about it just makes it harder to get the words down. Like right now, I'm writing about the thing instead of working on the thing. Damn it, Dan, get to work.
Forward! Tally-ho! What are you? Training myself with a typewriter didn't make it. Well, we've repaired his relationship with Tommy based on that picture that Tommy was drawing. They're together, they're all happy. So, I'm going to have to make Tommy a little bit upset this time. Mama needs help. Better support her artistic things as well. But I know what everybody wants. Let me go back and make sure I got it all. Okay. So we just need Daddy to help. If she's been putting up with all this crap to help him, then we are going to help her. Alright, Claire Bradford. Maybe getting my thoughts down on paper will help. Make a list. That's what Mom always taught me. So, dear diary, here are all the wonderful things about Roger. He's very handsome. He'll be soon working in the lawyer's father's firm, though the job is no gift. He worked so hard in college. He might be the only person on earth who loves music as much as me. He especially loves the songs I write in. His family has money, which of course shouldn't matter, but it's nice to feel secure. Who won't want to marry someone like that? Well, what about his personality? I mean, those are all very superficial things you've listed. Is he a nice guy? Does he treat you nice? Does he talk to you like a man should talk to a lady? What? Grown-up job, yeah. They have very grown-up jobs. He's gonna help you with your job, and you're gonna let him work on his. I don't know why, but I feel like I can really get my thoughts together here. That's why this entry isn't going to be very fun, but fair is fair. I've already waited a day, and there's no use delaying it longer. Here's the not-so-wonderful things about Roger. He can be so self-absorbed, especially when he's working on something. No one will ever accuse him of having a great sense of humor. He's so very predictable. Sometimes this makes me feel secure, other times I just feel so bored. I wonder if he spends too much time chasing his father and not enough time being his own man. There, now I feel rotten. I do love him very much. Everyone has their flaws. Are his so bad? Well, considering you were more descriptive in his flaws than his positives. Mom should probably lay a little more on the bed. The art show was a huge opportunity for Linda, so after getting an earful from Paul, Dan spent Saturday working on an announcement ad for the local paper. He got every writer he knew to ask their agents to do something in the art world, and on the fourth day he got lucky. The effort paid off. The show was a hit. Good. Dan knew he couldn't deliver a finished chapter on time, but he decided that sending a rough draft would be better than sending nothing at all. He called Paul to warn him of the state of the work. Paul understood. He even thanked Dan for his honesty, and though the chapter was in its early stages, Paul so promised to keep the publisher at bay a little longer. So we're getting better. I'm sorry, kid. Tommy spent Saturday playing by the window, looking at the beach and wishing his dad wasn't so busy doing grown-up things. He tried to use the shovel, and with the basket made a jump for his cars, but it was too light and kept sliding out of the way. It was weeks before he played with his bucket again. They're not good at time management here. At all. I mean, seriously. Full house. Is there copyright on that? There's more typing than actual letters showing up. Alright, so we have a friend over. Guy, probably not expecting to hear from me, were you? You know I'm all about surprises. Look, we're going to head up to the coast next weekend. We're doing the drive from LA to Seattle. I have an interview up there on Tuesday, and Kelly has a friend who's going to introduce her to some casting people from Vancouver. Can we crash at your place on the way up? We should be pulling through next Friday. I was thinking we could use it as an excuse to jam on our books. I want to see your new stuff, and I have a draft I want you to take a look at. I'm way beyond knowing what's good or not with my work, so I could really use your advice. And you know I'll give it to you straight about your new book. Is there a title yet? Could be an impromptu writer's workshop, I guess. Anyway, I think it'd be fun. Let me know. I mean, it's a good opportunity to use. I mean, I've turned to a friend of mine who's getting a book published to help. Honey, I'm sorry it's been so long since my last letter, but we've been all over the place. Have you gotten settled in that big house yet? Have getting away from everything has been a help for you and Dan. I'm writing because, speaking of getting away, your father and I are going to take a road trip. I've got some good AARP deals, and with your father only working part-time, it hasn't been very hard to arrange time off. Sorry. It's been too long since our last trip. I've always enjoyed changes of scenery, and as you're hopefully learning, it can be just the thing a marriage needs. Lord knows it's helped us. The trip won't take us close enough to the shore to come visit, I'm sorry to say, and if you write back, we'll be gone before your letter arrives. We'll call you if one of our motels is long distance, but if we don't get a chance to call, send my love to Dan and Thomas. We know your father and I want the best for you all. Love, Mom. Let's go camping.
Oh.
Check sofa, call Chamber of Commerce, homeless in town, double check T and Cage up when Dan gets back. Visiting artist on the Kaplan show this week was the talk of the local art world, hosted at Westlake Gallery. The collection on display was striking. The artist, joined by her husband and son, was on hand to discuss her work with guests who filled the room nearly to capacity. That's what's in your head.
I thought Tommy was sleeping with us.
I'm checking to see if this is a folder.
Oh. Checking to see if this is a fold out about Tommy was sleeping with us. Well, I can understand her not wanting that either.
Oh my god. We just got home and wow. Now I wish we'd had a bigger gallery. It was packed. But I guess it's like a bar, being loud and crowded just makes me...
She was happy about that. Good point. Watch that ugly sweater. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Sorry, Linda, your ugly sweater's just gonna sit to say ugly and dirty.
I think the rough draft was just enough to keep Paul off me a little longer. I hated sending it to him like that, but it was way better than sending it.
Are you still glowing?
What about Tommy?
He can sleep with us.
Yeah, so there's oh, no, what? Ah!
What about Tommy?
I'm sorry, I can't remember how to get up. Oh, what did you do last night that we're afraid of waking Tommy? I don't think I've ever seen him in these rooms somewhere. There's just some forbidden code of Tommy not being allowed in the parents' room.
Can Davy sleep over?
Let me call his mom.
Oh, so he's wanting to sleep over with Davy. Well, they have a friend over too. That should be a fair compromise. Oh my god. No, I don't want kids. So hard to please. I'd be a horrible mother anyway. I don't have the patience.
I took Tynan up on the book jam. He hasn't seen a word of my new book, and fresh eyes are priceless. He bailed me out on Tramer's Way. I hope he understands how much of that book worked because of him. I still remember when we were walking to the pond, and he had the idea about using newspaper clips and police reports. Of course, no matter how many times I tell interviewers it was his idea, they just keep giving me the credit. Maybe they just want the tidy auteur version. Oh well, can't change that.
Okay, so he's looking forward to seeing his friend come over. It'll be helpful.
Good news. Mom called today with a change of plans. They made better time on the first leg of the trip than they expected, and they're coming to visit. Bad news, they want to come this weekend. Did Dan tell...
Alright, so Linda's parents and his friend are coming. They want to bother you while you're working, but didn't want to forget again. Didn't mean to ask if you found any ponds in your hikes. Creeks, no rush, just curious. Well, who's been going on hikes? Talked to Davy's parents, and they're okay with him sleeping over. They said they'd take care of Tommy some weekend in return. I know the timing isn't great, but we can work something out. Let's talk when you get up. So we're going to have her parents, his friends, and Davy over. Because if we don't have Davy over, that's just not fair. And I already gypped him. So, yeah, he wants to... I'm okay with that. Blue sheets. Excuse me, Donnie. I know I've got other stuff. So, I'm okay with this. Crap, I thought I had all of his stuff. Schnikes! I realize now this isn't about Roger, it's about me. I have to decide who I want to be. Marrying Roger will set so many things in motion. Well, we'll be a well-to-do couple, safe and secure, with wonderful friends and loving families. I may slowly fade into being Roger's wife instead of Claire. That will be society's doing, not Roger's, who loves me too much to do that. But what about my music? If I'm accepted at Berkeley, I don't know what we'll do. I can't ask him to quit his job a month after he starts. What kind of couple lives in separate cities as soon as they get married? The decision can't be black and white, can it? Position and safety versus a crazy pursuit done alone. Is there a way to have it all? Do I even want it all? Will I ruin everything no matter what I choose? Well, I mean, if he's allowed to pursue his dreams, you should be allowed to pursue yours. Is that chair always out? What you making in here, Mom? Why does that look like a bloody hand? You're terrifying me just a little bit, Linda. It looks like a bloody hand. You cannot tell me that was not a bloody hand on the bottom corner of her freaking picture. You can't lie to me. Roger and I talked over everything today. And it was a mistake to speak so soon. I never should have brought up any of this without making up my mind first. Now I've only made things more difficult. I guess I was daydreaming, and he asked me what was on my mind, and before I could help it, it just came out, although maybe I wanted to get it off my chest. I told him I wasn't sure it was right time to get married, and it upset him badly. It didn't matter how many times I told him I wasn't calling it off, that I just had questions, that I hadn't made up my mind either way. All I heard was that I didn't love him anymore, which isn't true at all, but it doesn't matter how many times I said that either. He's gone off for a drive, and now I'm here in the house alone. I think I've made up my mind. Hope he gets back soon so I can tell him. I'm curious what your decision is. Now, where's the ugly sweater, since that's the only freaking option I have because he screwed up. Sorry, Dan. I messed up. Dan knew how important it was for Tommy to play with friends his age, so he grabbed the sheets and gave Tommy a few tips on the finer points of structural engineering and stuff before construction. When Davy came over, the boys stayed up watching TV and eating ice cream far past their bedtime, laughing and playing until they ran out of steam and passed out on the floor. Linda was glad they were able to make room for everyone. With so much going on in the house, she didn't get as much time as she would have liked to visit her parents. They were glad to be able to come at all, though Linda didn't get a chance to pull her mother aside to see how her parents were doing. Dan hated missing a chance to get feedback on his book, but he found the company distracting. He tried to work through the commotion, but he never got into the rhythm. He couldn't even focus long enough to do small corrections, so instead he took the role of selfless host, spent the weekend running errands, not working. Which I guess is okay too, but then this is going to be what he whines about in the next chapter. The funeral. Oh God. Who died? Oh no. It's gonna be your friggin' parents. What? Nikes. Big news. Got a call from Bracket Books in Eugene, and they want to do a reading from Windsong. Maybe even some Q&A, some book signings, all that good stuff. I think you should do it. In fact, I'm going to be pretty pissed if you don't. Bracket is a big outlet, so if this goes well, orders for the new book will definitely go up. I don't need to remind you how long it's been since Tremor's Way came out. If you don't keep your name out there, no one will notice when you finish the new book, whatever it's called. Hell, speaking of a new one, why don't you read some of it too? Maybe the second chapter you sent last month. That was pretty good. Bracket Books, Eugene. 21st. See you there. Paul. P.S. You know the long game, right? Nailing this one means a bigger advance on the next book. So I gotta give him time to work.
And I just got off the phone with Mom. She told me about Grandma Jo.
Grandma Jo died.
I know we expected it sooner rather than later.
I was afraid it was gonna be her parents.
This is hitting me so much harder than when Granddad died last year. Do you remember going to Grandma Jo's house after school on Wednesdays and playing?
Wait, I don't want to hear your sad story, sorry. You talk too slow. Mark the 21st of this month on your calendars for one day. Oh no! Man! Shoot. That's not fair. Screw you, game programmer. I hate you. No, I'm not talking to you two. Man, this is gonna suck. I'm gonna crush that boy's hopes and dreams.
Is she in heaven?
I'm sure she is.
If I didn't totally screw Tan over in the I don't think I can do both. Stop doing that to me. Stop showing me that mother-loving picture. Okay? Just stop. It's not fair. No! It's cheating. That hand is still in that picture.
I'm sure Mom and Dad would have liked to have been the only visitors in the house, but they understood.
Yeah, your parents definitely need to get over that, because it was a last minute decision. We already had people coming over. But I screwed that up, because somehow I did not manage to get all of Dan's memories in there. Which is why I have to let him do this job thingamabobber. Alright, where you at, Mom? Oh, you wanted me to hear her sobbing. Thanks for that. Oops. Got too close to Tommy. Come here! Come here! Ah! I hear you. Bird up. Suppose as much as I haven't seen Tommy in their rooms, I haven't seen them in Tommy's room.
And as for last weekend, I can't stop wondering what kind of advice Timon would have had for Act 2. Still a mess.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to screw you up. I really didn't mean to do that. Where's he at? I see him in here. There's only so many places you could be. There, in the fly.
Good, I'm so sorry. Tell me what I can do.
Just be here for me.
Go! I keep hitting escape to leave. Alright, so Grandma died. Big problem there. Call Paul first thing tomorrow morning. Any possible way to move it? Is this thing announced yet? We gotta go, man.
That might work.
Because that's just, it cannot not happen. Oops. I haven't found everything that Linda and Tommy want yet. So I'm more curious about Claire and them than I am these guys. Excuse me, sir?
Most of you here knew my grandmother.
Oh. The eulogy. Oh god, please don't let that be on the same day. Oh, that would be god awful. Oh, Tommy. I know what Tommy wants to do.
Oh no. Joe's funeral's the same day as the signing in Eugene.
And the air
Paul says they
show.
can't move it. He'll understand if I bail because he knows Linda, but Grove is a different story. They won't give a damn why I missed it. They'll just get a memo and put it in a spreadsheet somewhere and write me off just a little bit more. And it's not just the timing. If I do the reading, I've got to get that chapter in shape. It's not even remotely ready for anyone to see it. Can't worry about what Chris says. He's my agent. He's supposed to stroke me.
You serious right now? That's just cruel and unusual, man. I'm crushing that boy's hopes and dreams 2 times. This is hard. Okay, look, we're gonna do the funeral first. My compromise will be the chapter. I'm sorry, Tommy, but these are two very serious events that cannot be put aside for a plain show thing. I mean, those happen a lot of times. Maybe not, back to back and whatnot, but it's not like you'll never get a chance to go to another one. And preferably not around when your grandma died. Sorry. That's just how it's gotta be, man. You're just gonna have to forgive me on that. My dogs are getting very agitated outside because they hear me yelling at the story because, screw you, game producer. Alright. Oh, okay. Diary of K. Williams, 1952. Jay gone and I am alone. To some of it, no other thought enters my mind. Wednesday, 38 years ago. Our wed 38 years now alone. Since this act has taken blank from me, what should I do with myself? I do not know. Money is no worry. Time, that is the thing. There is so much of it still ahead of me. I have been blessed with health, but that blessing is now a curse. It is nothing more than a curse of time alone without Jay. I tend to look ahead, but without vision of the past, without Jay for long. I have no need to imagine one. The children do not understand why I've come to this house alone. They cannot understand my loss. They're your kids. I'm pretty sure they understand. I cannot say that I feel better than I did upon arriving, for Jay is still gone, but I do feel a change. Some glimmer of a path is taking form in my mind. I cannot describe it other than a narrowing of thought. Perhaps time alone is to be thanked, or perhaps it is something else, something unknown. Today I drove to McClendon's to buy coffee, wine, and vegetables, although I was not due to run short of these for a few days more. I confess I want to hear human voices, to be around the living. I conversed with a pleasant couple, and it did me no small measure of good. My first words came out as a croak, and I realized I had not spoken in days. A small reminder of my solitary days here alone with my thoughts, thinking of Jay, staring at the sea just over the cliff, though I must confess that my gaze always drifts from the sea to the edge of the cliff. Please do not tell me this man jumps. Or this woman. I don't think I saw the gender. If I did, I would have been good. What happened to me? They're sleeping closer together, so there's that. Dan couldn't bear the thought of Linda going to the funeral alone, so he bought a ticket and flew to Denver with her. The funeral was hard for Linda, but having Dan there made it easier to bear. They stayed up late at night at the funeral as Linda told the stories about Grandma and Joe, and they talked about maybe being grandparents themselves one day. Dan talked Paul into a compromise. He would work on the chapter and send it to Paul as soon as he could, and Paul would try to talk to Bracken into including excerpts into their quarterly in-store preview. It wouldn't have been the same impact as a personal appearance, but it still built some awareness. Well, good, because, he needed to be at the funeral. That is, first and foremost the most important. When Dan told Tommy they wouldn't be able to go to the show, Tommy had a crying fit and tried to tear up the magazine. Worried his parents, he hadn't thrown a fit like that for almost a year. It was exactly the kind of thing they'd hoped to avoid by spending the summer in such a quiet, peaceful place. And it's a little outrageous for him to be throwing that kind of a fit when there's so much more important things happening at the moment. As July came to an end, the Kaplan's lives had developed a pattern. Dan finished his first draft, but instead of the accomplishment, he felt disappointment. The book had gotten away from him. It was barely readable, much less publishable. Paul and Grofield gave him one last chance to get it into shape. They didn't have to tell him what the consequences would be if he couldn't get it together. So I need to give Dan more chances to work on his book, but that's going to make him pull further away from his family, I think. On Friday, Dan and Linda both knocked off early, took Tommy to his aunt's house, and drove to a bed and breakfast. They barely left the room. The guests in the room below complained about the noise, but the owner, who assumed that Dan and Linda were on their honeymoon, offered to move the guests to a different room instead. Well? And on the following Tuesday, Tommy put on an art show in the den, explaining his drawings to his parents one by one. Dan got Linda to pretend they were at an art auction, building against each other for each drawing. Dan would not be denied, outbidding Linda every time while complimenting the family's young artist on his priceless works of art. They still had a month left, but Dan's chances to change over the course of the summer were growing fewer. Well, I'm sure Tommy hates us right now, so I need to focus on Dan and Tommy. Alright, I'm going to pause it there, just because, end of the month, I'm going to try to do it in these chunks, so I don't have any idea how long I've been recording this time. I'm very into this story. But I hate you so much right now, game developer. That was so unfair, putting those 3 things on the same day. How dare you do that to me? Okay, so, like I said, I'm going to end it right there. So that's all for right now. Let's see how I can end this, because I feel like I am failing just a little bit. And this might explain why I have such a hard time with my book. Anyway, catch you guys in the next video. Remember to get your prescription on the way out the door.